Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhakti Chapter Conference Call. Today's class will be given by His Grace Vivek Prabhuji on the topic of Rajasuya Yajna, culture. I forget the name.
The culture of respect.
Culture of respect. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you all so much for joining. And again, it's my great honor to be invited, welcoming and introducing His Grace Vivek Prabhu. Vivek Prabhu has been practicing Krishna consciousness from 2015 by sincerely following Srila Prabhupada's books and scriptures. He's an aspiring disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He's a part of the Sunday school at Baltimore ISKCON Temple and has been organizing various activities for kids, such as morning classes, Vidyashram, and other activities. Prabhu is one of the leaders of Bhakti Vriksha and has been contributing a lot by preaching and cultivating many new devotees, such as university students, grihasthas, and others. He's been a member of book distribution team, and he's involved in various temple services, especially during festivals such as cleaning, help during cooking, and so on. In Bhakti Sangha, Prabhu was instrumental in getting the posters for the kids and maintaining the drive during the initial days setup, and he continues to help us to this day with various services. He, along with his very wonderful wife, Vrinda Mataji, are an integral part of Bhakti Sangha. And we had the great fortune of hearing from both of them together earlier. And it was a very, very wonderful class. Today, you must have all witnessed what a wonderful preacher both of them are. So today we have Prabhu, who will be speaking on the Rajasuya sacrifice, culture of respect. So it's a very beautiful topic, and we are very excited to hear from you, Prabhu. Very eagerly waiting. Hare Krishna. Please take over.
Mataji. Before I begin, I sincerely thank Her Grace Preeti Vilasini Mataji and Kirtita Sundari Mataji and Kamudiki Mataji for giving me the opportunity to share whatever I have heard from Guru Maharaj and many disciples. So I'll start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I like to just read a paragraph from the Krishna book, and then we can begin today's discussion. So it is from chapter 75. The title of the chapter is Why Duryodhana Felt Insulted at the End of the Rajasuya Sacrifice. King Yudhishthira was known as Ajata Shatru, or a person who had no enemy. Therefore, when all the men, demigods, kings, sages, and saints saw the successful termination of the Rajasuya Yajna performed by the king Yudhishthira, they were very happy. That Duryodhana, all alone, was unhappy was astonishing to Maharaj Parikshit, and therefore he requested Shukadeva Goswami to explain this. Shukadeva Goswami said, "My dear King Parikshit, your grandfather, King Yudhishthira, was a great soul. His congenial disposition attracted everyone to be his friend, and therefore he was known as Ajata Shatru, one who never created an enemy. He engaged all the members of the Kuru dynasty in taking charge of different departments of the management of Rajasuya sacrifice. For example, Bhimasen was put in charge of the kitchen department, Duryodhana in charge of the treasury department, Sahadev in charge of the reception department, Nakula in charge of the supply department, and Arjuna in charge of looking after the comforts of the elderly persons. The most astonishing feature was that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, took charge of washing the feet of all the incoming guests. The queen, the goddess of fortune, Draupadi, was in charge of administering the distribution of food, and because Karna was famous for giving charity, he was put in charge of the charity department. In this way, Satyaki, Vikarna, Hardikya, Vidura, Santardana, Burishrava, the son of Balika, were all engaged in different departments for managing the affairs of Rajasuya sacrifice. They were all so bound in loving affection for King Yudhishthira that they simply wanted to please him. So we read this paragraph from Krishna book, and our entire discussion will be focusing on this one particular statement of Srila Sukadeva Goswami, who mentions that all the devotees were involved in various services in Rajasuya Yajna. But then Srila Sukadeva Goswami says the most astonishing feature was that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, took charge of washing the feet of all the incoming guests. So I'll stop sharing. So this will be our focus today. This one particular statement of Srila Sukadeva Goswami is our focus in today's discussion. So that's where this title for today's topic is Culture of Respect. Why is that Krishna is doing this kind of a menial service? We always read the Supreme Lord is the cause of all causes. Janma dasya yataha bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. We see always the Supreme Lord Krishna in awe and reverence when we are practicing as a sadhaka, as part of our Vaidhi Bhakti. But then Krishna, on the other hand, he is actually doing a menial service in Rajasuya Yajna. Why is that so? So that's the reason why Srila Sukadeva Goswami mentions this as an astonishing fact. So we will be taking some examples from Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Bhagavat and see some contrasting examples as to how a devotee can actually offer respect, and if you don't, what are the consequences, is what we will be discussing in the initial portion, and then we will come back to the topic of Krishna. So we'll try to tie up these lessons to the actual topic of culture of respect shown by Krishna here. So first we will start with from Srimad Bhagavatam. So we see often in Srimad Bhagavatam that many of the incidents that we see Indra is involved. Indra is one of the characters that Krishna, through Indra, teaches us the essential principle of culture of etiquette. And Indra is often put into trouble. Sometimes, being a conditioned soul, still I'm conditioned. I always have this understanding that Indra is always, he's always a person who always gets into trouble. He still doesn't know many things about devotional service. But when we read through the actual pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, Indra is not an ordinary soul. I mean, to be Indra is itself is a big thing. In the 5th canto in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained that above the human beings, even the ghosts are superior because they don't have a material body. So what to speak of Indra? Even though Indra is a position like Brahma, to become Indra itself is a great benediction, because to be ruling all the heavenly planets is not an ordinary post. And if you read some of the realizations that Indra shares after the things that he does, it shows that he's a true devotee. In fact, in one of the incidents when Indra has this conversation with Diti, when he tries to destroy her children within a room, after he learns the lesson that the children within Diti's womb were protected by the Supreme Lord because she actually did sacrifice as described by Kashyapa Muni, Indra gave some amazing realizations. We'll be spellbound that is Indra such a person? I mean, one of the realization that he shares that I can read out is that he says the ultimate goal of all ambitions is to become a servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If an intelligent man serves the most dear Lord who gives himself to his devotees, how can he desire material happiness, which is available even in hell? This is a profound statement that is being made by Indra. But such a person, Indra, does abominable things as well. But how we have to take it from our side is that through Indra, Krishna is trying to teach the world what can happen if we do not follow the principle of etiquette or respect while we are practicing Krishna consciousness. So one of the incident is what I wanted to discuss. There are several incidents through the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, but one of the incident is that demigods generally they have so much wealth, and because they are higher within the material creation, they're always in a superior platform compared to human beings. But it is the nature of this world is padam padam yat vipadam na tesham. There is always, every step there is danger. That we see even with respect to demigods, even though they have so much wealth. But the problem is always the ego part within us, it attacks us. Sometimes we recognize this, but on a very, very subtle level, this false ego is so subtle that we don't even realize when it is coming out. And the wealthy demigods, because of this portion of pride and ego and prestige, they all often get defeated, and they often are put into tough situations, and they finally take shelter of the Supreme Lord. So what happens is when because the demigods, even though they are devotees, they are covered by the mode of passion most of the times. And because of that fact, even though they know that they have to be obedient to the Supreme Lord, their knowledge is covered. And this is an important taking for us, is that we may intellectually understand Krishna consciousness, but the problem is everything remains on the head. At least I don't put many of the things into practice. We may hear so much, but if you don't put into practice, I'm often put into trouble. And only when I'm put into trouble, I realize I shouldn't have done this. Indra, similarly, he being the king of the heavenly planets, he has all the opulence around him. He has the Apsaras, Gandharvas, and people fanning He has such a beautiful wife sitting next to him, Sachi. And because of all this opulence, he's so much in a puffed up situation, even though he knows that this is something that is given by Krishna. But this is all on the head. That is the problem. And because of this opulence around him, he often falls into illusion. And he thinks that all these things that are around me belongs to me. And I'm the enjoyer of all these things. And because of this one particular thought process, Indra often falls into a trap. And because of this pride, he falls down. Which people often say pride is the first signal that a devotee should catch before he falls down. Otherwise, it's inevitable that we will fall down for sure. Fall down meaning that we will fall from the principles of Krishna consciousness. This pratishta is so subtle that we don't even realize that we have this pratishta within us, or pride, that even as practicing devotees, I'm speaking to myself, that I don't even realize that we may be doing so many things, but it remains in a subtle nature. So Indra, what happened is, because he was so prideful, in such a pride mood, when Brihaspati came inside his assembly, he did not even get up to offer respectful obeisances to his spiritual master, which is such a grave offense. We can learn also from this incident that even neglect can be an offense. Often we think, oh, I speak something to somebody which is inappropriate, that becomes an offense. Or if I don't follow the rules and regulations, that becomes an offense. If I disobey my spiritual master, that becomes an offense. But here it is seen that even neglecting to follow, it can be due to ignorance, it can be due to several factors, but even neglect can be an offense. As devotees, when Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he mentions in one of the classes that as devotees, we become too familiar with many things that's going around us. That's probably the most significant factor for major of our problems that we face. When we go to the temple, we see devotees, we see so many sannyasis in festivals. It's such a familiar thing now that most of the times we forget the fact that we have to follow some principles that we are supposed to follow, like offering obeisances when we see senior devotees, like Srila Rupa Goswami mentions that devotees are of different categories. You have Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama, and we have to identify and differentiate between such differentiate devotees and offer respects to such devotees accordingly. But often we tend to forget that. Dandavat has become such a a word that is just simply used for the sake of using. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, Dandavat Mataji, Dandavat. But we actually don't really feel what actually Dandavat means. His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, he gives a class, one whole class of what actually means obeisances. He mentions several aspects of what actually obeisances means. Even from a materialistic perspective, taking obeisances can be out of 4 factors he mentions. Like, it could be out of fear, it could be out of some kind of sense of reward, or it could be what is the third one? He mentions that it could be out of duty, or it could be out of love. So even in a material circumstance, we see people falling down or bowing down in front of elders. But these are the 4 factors, even in a materialistic background. But even in a spiritualistic background, we should not probably do it out of fear or out of some kind of reward, but at least as a matter of duty. As practicing devotees, when we see some really superior person who has practiced Krishna consciousness for a long time without judging, because that's what happens, right? At least myself, like, because I'm reading or hearing too much, it's all theoretical. I don't really feel that I have to do some things at some time that are supposed to be done. So when we see superiors, we need to bow down. And Maharaj mentions there are different kinds of obeisances. He gives details. that we may not have time to discuss all those things, but Maharaj mentions different categories of obeisances that one has to, because that is also one of the limbs of bhakti that we are supposed to follow. As Srila Rupa Goswami mentions in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, 64 limbs, and one of the limb is to offer obeisances. And while offering obeisances, we should also not offer silent obeisances, either in front of the deity or in front of the spiritual master, or when we are bowing down in front of the devotees. No silent obeisances. Maharaj gives several details regarding that. And Indra, because he committed this offense of neglect, immediately Brihaspati left the place without even mentioning anything to him. This is another lesson we can learn, that if somebody commits an offense, we don't stand there and try to find fault with that person. He wanted to teach Indra a good lesson. And Indra, being a devotee, he instantly realized, as soon as Brihaspati left the place, he realized that he did not pay respects to his guru. And he tried to search for his guru for a long time, but he was not able to find him. Brihaspati, using his mystic powers, he actually hid himself that Indra couldn't find him. He wanted to teach Indra a good lesson. And Indra realized, and because of this, he lost all of his opulences and his kingdom. And the demons, on the other hand, because they knew that Indra disrespected his guru, the demons, they understood that, okay, this is the time that we need to attack the demigods. They started respecting their guru, who is what is his name, Sukracharya, and they gained all strength, and they defeated Indra and the demigods, and they took everything from Indra. So it is said that even when we see a person who is in a renounced order, it may be even a Mayavadi sannyasi, we have to bow down, because we have to give respect to the renunciation, that the principle of renunciation that he's exhibiting. We should not go beyond that. I mean, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited this when he saw the renunciates in Varanasi. Such humble mood he was approaching them. He was not showing that he was a devotee or he is in such a highly elevated position compared to the renunciates in Varanasi. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited himself as to how to behave even in front of a Mayavadi sannyasi. So any renunciate we see, wherever we see, the first duty for us is to show respect to them by bowing down. And this kind of a Vaishnava etiquette is an ornament that makes a devotee attractive in front of Krishna's eyes. And this is something that Krishna always looks in a devotee, that we need to at least strive to cultivate. Like Sonis Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, he says in the class, at least as a matter of duty, we have to do this. Maybe we may not have the feelings and love, maybe through some devotees, because we are connected to them by hearing or by often listening to their Vani, we are connected to them. We feel like bowing down to them. But other devotees, if we have not seen, but at least as a matter of duty, we have to bow down, is what Maharaj says in his class. So at this juncture, later we see that Vishwarup comes to the rescue of the demigods, and then he is asked to recite the Narayana Kavacha, and then the demigods feel that they will be rescued soon. But then Vishwarupa, because he has a maternal connection towards the demons, he recites the Narayana Kavacha secretly to the demons, and Indra couldn't stand this. Again, Indra, time and again, he falls into this trap. Krishna again teaches us that even though we know so many things that are meant to be followed, we time and again we actually fall down from the position of devotional service, meaning what pleases Krishna. And Indra cut off Vishwarup's heads, and again he commits Vaishnava Ninda, and again Indra is punished. So we see that even though Indra is a great soul, Krishna is teaching through him for our own benefit. So we can learn from this example that it is only through humble service, humility alone, that will attract Krishna. And without this, whatever services that we are doing, whatever chanting and hearing that we are doing, that will not please Krishna, because that's what Krishna says, or in Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, Atha Pumbir Dvija Sheshta Varnashrama Vibhagasaha Sonishtistasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. So whatever we do as a matter of devotional service, we have to please Krishna in the end. Otherwise, there is no point in performing our devotional service. So Krishna withdrew all the powers from Indra, and that was actually a mercy. Because when Krishna withdraws the power or punishes a devotee, oftentimes I fall. I'm speaking to myself. I get Krishna smashes this pride on us. Again, become a mouse, like Prabhupada says, right? Become a mouse again. We get smashed time and again. And there is no other hope. We get smashed and we come up. We get smashed and then we come up. But then what is the solution? So that's the reason why we should always try to be in a humble state of mind and try to take guidance from superiors who have actually seen this and know how to mold oneself as a devotee. We should take inspiration from our acharyas, like Srila Krishna Katha Goswami. The other day, His Grace Untitled Prabhuji, he shared so many realizations in one of the classes that he shared recently. He mentions that Srila Krishna Katha Goswami, he mentions in Chaitanya Charitamrita that he gives all the glory to Vrindavan Das Thakur. That he mentions in one of the verses, Bhagavate Krishna Leela Varnila Veda Vyas Chaitanya Leela Vyasa Vrindavana Das. He says, Srila Vyasadev has compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Vyasa of pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Vrindavan Das Thakur. But the person who is actually writing the book is actually Krishna Katha Goswami. But out of his humility, he is giving all the credit to Vrindavan Das Thakur. So the line of parampara that we are actually aspiring for is humility personified. From all our previous acharyas to our most recent acharya of Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, everyone is exhibiting this factor of humility. And if we don't often realize this, then it is often ending in catastrophe. And this is what we need to always be careful of. And Indra was under the illusion that I am the doer and I have everything around him. And because of this ego factor, he forgot everything, that it was Krishna's gift to him, and he fell down. And as soon as we think all the time, at least when I make mistakes, this is the most important thing that I forget, and I often commit offense. And from moving from Indra, we will move to a totally shift of 180 or 360 of another exemplary behavior of a Vaishnava. We saw one example from Srimad Bhagavatam. Now the other example is how we should actually behave. What kind of a behavior will actually attract Krishna? This is quoted in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita as well as Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. So this is an incident where Sri Advaita Acharya is involved. So Sri Advaita Acharya had 6 sons. 3 of the sons were extremely Krishna conscious. They were unalloyed devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then 3 other sons, Sri Balaram, Swarup and Jagadish, they were actually into Mayavad consumption. So Sri Advaita Acharya, though he respected the other 3 children because they were his sons, but he rejected their ideas because they were totally towards Mayavad consumption. And the leader of the first 3 sons was Achyutananda. And one day when Advaita Acharya was sitting in Shantipur in his house, a sannyasi came to his home. And Advaita Acharya immediately welcomed that sannyasi and offered him dandavats, like offered obeisances to him and offered him seat. And he said, so the sannyasi said, I've just come here to accept some alms from you. And then Advaita Acharya said, sure, no problem. We can prepare very good, nice prasad for you. So please come and sit. And the sannyasi said, no, but before that, I want to ask a question to you. Then Sri Advaita Acharya was wondering, I mean, why is he want to ask a question before? He said, okay, never mind, no problem. Please go ahead and ask. The sannyasi asked the question, what is the relationship between Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Keshav Bharati? I mean, Sri Advaita Acharya was thinking, I mean, why is he asking this question? I mean, of all the questions, is this the question that he wants to ask me? Then he was thinking all this in his mind. I mean, according to spiritual conception, Lord Chaitanya is the Lord of all the 14 worlds and all of the creation, and he's the Supreme Father of all existence. And he's the Guru of all existence. But according to material conception, he is the son of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata. And his Guru is Keshav Bharati. And sometimes, even though he's the absolute truth, Krishna being the absolute truth, we still call him Devaki Nandan. So he tried to answer the sannyasi's question in a more materialistic conception. He said, Lord Chaitanya is the son of Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Mata, and Keshav Bharati, as you know, is Lord Chaitanya's Guru. And as soon as Sri Advaita Acharya told this, his son Achyutananda, who was very small, hardly few years old, he heard this and he comes running towards Advaita Acharya, laughing and angry at the same time. I mean, how can somebody be laughing and angry at the same time? He comes towards Advaita Acharya and he says, Father, what have you said? Lord Chaitanya's Guru is Keshav Bharati? What kind of an illusion are you in? Is that what you really said? Are these the words that actually came from your tongue? Then I understand Kali Yuga has really come. He says, many people get bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord, Maya Shakti. Even Brahma got bewildered. Don't you know that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the absolute truth? At the very beginning of creation, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Mahavishnu, from his pores, all the universes sprout out. And then he takes another form of Garbhodakshay Vishnu. From his navel, lotus flower, Lord Brahma comes out. And then all the Jivatmas come out. And the material creation is created. And from Brahma comes the 4 Kumaras. And from that, the disciplic succession comes. And from everyone, the absolute, from every Acharya to Acharya, or Guru to Guru, the absolute truth of the knowledge of the absolute truth is passed on. Then how can Keshav Bharati become Guru of Lord Chaitanya? My dear father, what have you spoken? With this intense, Achyutananda, the small young boy, spoke to Sri Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya, after he heard this, he became splashed with ecstasy. He started weeping. And he said, son, you are my father, and I am your son. When Advaita told this, Achyutananda told, my dear father, please forgive my offense. I will never speak like this in ignorance again. Look at the kind of conversation that's happening between a father and a son. And as soon as the sannyasi saw this exchange, he was stunned. Looking at this astonishing exchange of etiquette between a father and a son. From an outwardly perspective, they look like a father and a son. They were Bhagavad devotees, even though he was such a small boy from a materialistic perspective. And the sannyasi became totally satisfied seeing this. And he blissfully left the place, chanting the holy name of Lord Hari. And Sri Advaita Acharya was happy to see his son. And he said, I'm sincerely praying to Lord Chaitanya that he has sent his own personal associate to deliver me. This was the mood of Sri Advaita Acharya. And who's Advaita Acharya? Advaita Acharya he's also a plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he is reacting as though he's such a menial person. He's saying his son Achyutananda has come to deliver him. And he held Achyutananda in his arms. And he took dust from his lotus feet and placed it on his head. And Achyutananda, seeing all these things, he became even more embarrassed. And Advaita Acharya was dancing in ecstasy. We can see from this amazing way of behavior from Sri Advaita Acharya, how he's showing the world that it is not the age, even for culture of respect. We often have this understanding, at least I have this understanding, that, oh, only when I see a person who's superior in age or how many years he has practiced in Krishna consciousness, I have to respect him. Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he says that a person sitting next to you in the temple who has come for the first time to the temple, we never know who that person is. We never know what kind of Ajnata Sukriti that he has got, what he has done in his past life. He may become much more greater than we. So we should never feel envious of anyone, for that matter, even if it's a first-time devotee that's coming to the temple. Maybe he's passed many lives and he has passed several stages of the nine stages of devotional service, and he may be somewhere even higher than us. So that is the reason why when we should never judge a person even based on age factor. Even a small boy could become a pure devotee faster than us. Who knows what plans that Krishna has for that person? None of us really know. So we should never judge. We see several such examples. Even in Srimad Bhagavatam, why of all the people in the assembly of Naimisharanya, all the great sages were sitting, Srila Narad Muni was sitting, Srila Vyasadeva was sitting, so many big personalities were sitting. But then Srila Sukadeva Goswami was chosen to speak the Srimad Bhagavatam at the age of 16. So it is not the age that matters. It is also not the knowledge. It is the etiquette that a person who's actually showing actually matters. And we should also not judge, okay, somebody is actually not showing the Vaishnava etiquette, okay, let me not show any respect to him. That again becomes a offense. Because ultimately we should respect everyone who's chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Somebody mentioned in one of the class that one of the acharyas, I forgot it, one of the Goswamis, I think it is Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he says that we should, even if a person chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra once, we should respect him. We should not think that, oh, he is not exhibiting any etiquette of a Vaishnava, so I will not show any respect to him. Again, that becomes an offense. So we should be very, very careful in the way we deal with devotees, not judging anybody. But at the same time, we should strive and endeavor to exhibit and practice these etiquettes that will please Krishna and Sri Guru. And one last example before I conclude, Srila Prabhupada, when he came in the 70s, or in the 60s rather, and then when the movement flourished, Srila Prabhupada actually started initiating. He made so many disciples, and during one of such initiation ceremonies, when he was initiating Gargamuni and Brahmananda Prabhu, and during the initiation ceremony, both of their parents had come. We also see now, at least I see when I go and attend some initiation ceremonies, some of the times we see the parents of the devotees who are taking initiation come. So Prabhupada, when the initiation ceremony happened, before he gave the beads to both the devotees, he asked them to go and fall on their mother's feet, each of their mother's feet. And the families, they had come, they were culture shocked, because they were thinking that, okay, this Swamiji is actually brainwashing my kids, and we don't know what's happening to our kids. They're going somewhere else. They had a totally different understanding about Prabhupada, but Prabhupada totally changed their way of thinking by the simple principle of etiquette, of showing respect to everyone. And both the devotees, as soon as they fell on their parents' feet, they were totally taken aback. And later, Maharaj is explaining this in the class, that when Brahmananda Prabhu went to his home later, after this incident, after his initiation, he was ringing the bell in his mother's home. And he went and his mother opened the door and she was looking, nobody was there. Somebody rang the bell, nobody was there. And then suddenly she saw down, Brahmananda Prabhu was actually bowing down, taking her blessings. And her mother was feeling so awkward. She said, okay, before someone else sees, please come inside. So he actually took Prabhupada's words to his heart. This might have been a simple gesture that Prabhupada actually asked him to do during his initiation ceremony, but he actually took it to his heart. So only when we associate with sadhus and devotees who are striving, it may be a pure devotee or devotees who are striving for pure devotional service. And when we take such blessings to our heart and when we follow it, then we make actual advancement. Otherwise, if we try to take decisions on our own and according to our own minds, then it will cause simply havoc. I have time and again fallen into this trap of creating havoc for myself. That we have to follow the guidance that we are actually receiving. It's actually mercy that is flowing through Guru and the disciples that's coming to us. But we have to follow. And why should we follow these things? What is the gain? Well, everyone will have this question that why should I actually do what I'm doing? What am I going to get? Pure devotional service. There are 6 characteristics of pure devotional service that Srila Rupa Goswami mentions in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. What is the price for the things that we are doing in Krishna consciousness? May it be chanting, hearing, doing variety of services to Krishna, following the limbs of bhakti. What is the price? Pure devotional service. The 6 characteristics are Kleshagni, Shubhada, Sudurlabha, Moksha Lagutakrit. And the 5th one is Sandaranda Visheshatma. And the 6th one is Sri Krishna Karshani. The 6 characteristics of pure devotional service, and each 2 have different stages. Like at sadhana, in sadhana bhakti, one passes through the first 2 of like Kleshagni and Shubhada, all auspiciousness. Kleshagni means all the material sufferings are destroyed. And then Sudurlabha and Moksha Lagutakrit comes in Bhava Bhakti. And in Prema Bhakti, one achieves Sandaranda Visheshatma, which means complete transcendental bliss and pleasure. And Sri Krishna Karshani means that is the only means to attract Krishna. But this pure devotional service is very rare. Very rare. And what is the praman for this? In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prasannatma kotishva api mahamune sudurlabha. It is very rare to attain pure devotional service. Higher than liberation, higher than bhukti, mukti. Among kotishva api mahamune, it says that among millions of people, one may become a pure devotee. Why is it so rare? Because we cannot achieve pure devotional service by us. And why? The second reason is, if one becomes a pure devotee, Krishna becomes controlled by that devotee. And that's the reason why Krishna is so choosy to give pure devotional service to a particular person. So we have to earn it in the way that Krishna wants us to become. And that's when Krishna becomes pleased. And Krishna, in the beginning, we read that Krishna cannot be controlled by anyone. He is the cause of all causes. But ultimately, Krishna is controlled by Srimati Radharani. And from Srimati Radharani comes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he is giving this pure devotional service through the process of chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to everyone. See the benediction that we have received when we see when we fall victim to our mind. We have to instantly realize that what have I got in my life? This rare jewel of pure devotional service is not available for millions of persons. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. And what have I received? And what am I doing now? What have I done now? Even after I make a mistake, one has to realize this. What have I done now? Should I have really done this? What am I going to gain? What have I gained from doing such an act? This gift that we have got is so rare. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this, and we have received this through our acharyas by getting these from our spiritual masters, from Srila Prabhupada. So therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us that Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. This chanting of the holy names is the prime benediction for all humanity. Right? Simply by chanting, one becomes perfect. One can become free from material bondage. But this chanting alone is not going to help us. The only way, along with chanting, that one can make real spiritual advancement by showing this culture of respect. The only way, it has been throughout the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam through different examples we have seen. And Prahlad Maharaj mentions this in his prayers to Sri Narasimhadev. Naishammatistava durukramangrim sprishati anartapagamo yadartha mahiyasham padarado abhishegam nishkinchananam navrinita yavat. Unless and until a person smears his body the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava or a sadhu. And who's a Vaishnava or a sadhu? A person who has absolutely no trace of any material contamination. That's the definition of a sadhu. Pure devotee. And what does it mean to take the dust of the lotus feet of a pure devotee? Service. We have to serve that pure devotee through mind, body, and words. Humble service. And what does humility mean? Being honest. We have to be honest and always have this feeling within our heart. We may make mistakes. I have made several mistakes, still making mistakes, but we have to strive. We have to keep striving and falling down, getting up, falling down. For what? One and only goal. To serve that pure devotee. Whatever it takes. And by doing this humble service, in the mood of Trinadapi Sunichena, there is no other means. I may chant for millions of births, many thousands of rounds of the Hare Krishna mantra. But in order to get the prize of highest platform of pure devotional service, this is the only way. Because by such pure devotional service, one can attract Srimati Radharani, and through Srimati Radharani, we can attract Krishna. And that is what Krishna did in this Rajasuya Yajna. Because the Pandavas were such first-class pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, Krishna became controlled by the Pandavas. He was ready to do anything for them. And he did that in the Rajasuya Yajna by washing the feet of the guests coming into the Rajasuya Yajna. And we will see that we can see, even we may not always have personal association with sadhus, but we can have personal association of devotees who are striving for the same goal. And we can get inspired from them and try to follow in their footsteps. And this is how we can make advancement. And Srila Narottam, I'll conclude with this. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he sings, I think it is, it is Narottam Das Thakur. He sings in Hari Haraya Namaha, Krishna Yadavaya Namaha, he sings one line. He glorifies the six Goswamis and he sings, Tadera Charana se bhi bhakta sane vas, janame hoye abhilash. He sings that I would like to take the dust of the six Goswamis, life after life, birth after birth. I mean, Narottam Das Thakur, when we hear his pastimes, he's already a descendant from the spiritual world. And he wants to take the dust of the 6 Goswamis, life after life. And this is what we have been given. And Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he says in one of the classes that this is what we have to strive for. Nothing less than this. And because this is what Srila Prabhupada came to give us. Higher than liberation, higher than mukti, higher than bhukti, material assets, pure devotional service. I'll stop here. I sincerely thank all the devotees for giving me this opportunity. And I've simply repeated, just like a parrot, what I've heard from Guru Maharaj and the senior disciples. I don't have any realizations. I'm still making a lot of mistakes. I'm still falling down and getting up and trying to practice devotional service. I sincerely take all the blessings from the Vaishnavas who have assembled. Please bless me so that I can practice Krishna consciousness without hurting anybody, which I keep doing time and again. Please bless me. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yeah, if we have any discussions that we can do for a few minutes, we can. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It was a fantastic class and a very important topic in this time. I think, yes, as you said, we just take devotees for granted. We just take people for granted, and familiarity makes us that way, which is so true. And I really like the introduction verses that you read about Yudhishthir Maharaj being Ajatashatru and how everyone took up different services, even in his Rajasuya Yajna. So in spite of the hatred that the cousins always cultivated, I mean, it was just amazing for me to even think that someone would come and serve like this, right? The so-called enemies, or, though he didn't have enemies, he did have so-called enemies who cultivated hatred towards him. And even they were bound to serve. I mean, not bound, rather out of, I don't even understand that their psychology, how they came and served. So it just made me think of so much about Yudhishthir Maharaj, so highly of Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yeah, and also the story of Achyutananda, as you mentioned so beautifully, that was also very nice. Yes, Prabhu, the underlying message I get, and yeah, eventually we have to put it in practice, though it is very, very hard. Thank you so much for sharing few realizations from both Bhaktivedanta Maharaj's lectures and Guru Maharaj's lectures. It was extremely helpful, and thank you for your very fantastic class. You articulate very beautifully, Prabhu. So thank you so much. It was beautiful.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, I'm simply repeating, Mataji. Nothing is mine. Thank you.
But repeating also has its style, right, Prabhu? It was very nice to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So glories to Prabhupada, glories to all the Guru Maharajas. Thank you, Prabhu, for such a beautiful class. Like, I was thinking it was totally for me. It was a very, very instructive class. And the best point in your class, actually everything was so wonderful. The best thing that I like is that devotional service is not so cheap and we have to earn it. Yes, so true that yes, we have to earn this devotional service. It's not easy. We always take it for granted. We always take it so cheaply, but it is not. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for bringing up that point, which was very, very take-home lesson for me. And otherwise, your class was very, very good, awesome, and very, very instructive, I should say. It is for people like me. It was very, very instructive and so much to take home, so much to take home. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for your services. Thank you for coming on the call and giving these wonderful messages. Though, as you'll say that, yes, you are repeating, but repetition also has its own value. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Vivek Prabhuji, thank you very much. Please accept my humble obeisances. very nice class, very nicely you explained everything.
Thank you,
Very nice word. Thank you very much. Very
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vivek Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. Yes, Prabhuji, please forgive me, joined little late because trustees' health is so down. For that, please forgive me. Prabhuji, you explained the Leela of Shri Jagannath Mishra and Devki Nandar and the instruction of Guru Maharaj, and we should not judge any Vaishnava sitting next to me. Maybe he is more senior and more sincere in last but bhakti. Given a respect to all Vaishnava. Never expect any respect from any Vaishnava. And the Srila Prabhupada is given a diksha to that two devotees, Gargamuni and Brahmananda. And before taking diksha, they are taking, वो उनके पेरेंट्स के पास blessing लेने जाते हैं. Usually every parents and even husband and everybody think that this husband is क्या बोलते हैं उसको, brainwashing. But when they are just reading our behavior with them, with husband or with parents, and जब ब्रह्मानंदा उनको पेरेंट्स को दीक्षा लेने से पहले गर्गमुनि और ब्रह्मानंदा दंडवत करते हैं, और दीक्षा लेने के बाद भी सबसे पहले उनको दंडवत प्रणाम करते हैं. तो दिस इज द अवर गुरुदेव श्रील प्रभुपाद, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada instruction we will follow, Prabhuji, and we just follow the footstep of them, and we should follow the all senior Vaishnavas. Charan Raj ki dhuli sar pe laga ke we just follow their instruction, whatever with they teach us in Charan dhuli of all Bhakti Sangha teachers, Vivek Prabhu, and nobody is senior and junior in Bhakti, Prabhuji. Maybe they are by age they are younger, but they are वो हमसे भक्ति में 100 गुना आगे होते हैं. So we should follow their instruction. Then you explain about the Krishna conscious and that Srila Prabhupada instruction, and you explain about the washing and Krishna become a so sincerely serving by Lord Krishna by Pandava that Rajasi Yagna में वो चरण तुलित होते हैं और भगवान अर्जुन के सारथी बनते हैं. तो लॉर्ड कृष्ण इस वो भक्त के प्रेम में बंधे हुए हैं. So we should be very sincere in our daily sadhana. Trunarapi sunichana tarorapi sahichunakam. And the birth highest platform of the pure devotional service to attract Lord Krishna. Prabhuji, there is so many points. Param Vichayate, Shri Krishna, Sankirtanam. So many points today you explain so sincerely, Prabhuji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai. This Bhakti Sangha teachers are, that platform is so high, Prabhuji. हमेशा हमें ये जन्म में भक्ति ना खत्म हुई तो नेक्स्ट जन्म में भी ये सब हमें मिले, ताकि हम हमारी भक्ति खत्म करके श्रील प्रभुपाद की धोती पकड़ के एंटर हो जाए श्री कपलों को वृंदावन दान. Thank you, Vivek Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Shri Radha Gopinath, Savary special mercy upon you and Aksita's mother. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Jai Jai Nityananda, Jai Jai Gauranga. Dandavat Pranam to all Bhakti Sangha teachers.
Yeah. So I've heard that from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam that it's very difficult to see devotees who are like these. Usually I'm not exposed to devotees who are like these, who see only the good in others, and I see that in Bhakti Sangha. It's very rare to see devotees like this. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu. Very nice class, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have a question. How long, Prabhu, it takes, like you prepared a nice class, how long it takes, Prabhu, and you continue thinking of that class, you know, because you think, okay, you have to talk for Krishna, and you want to, of course, talk as beautiful as you can. You want to give as many references as you can, and in a certain way, you're thinking of Krishna, which is beautiful. In another way, it is actually interfering with your japa too, because I'm doing my japa and I'm thinking, okay, day after tomorrow I have to give a class, and certainly you want to talk nice about Krishna, about his pastimes. So how you feel, Prabhu? Like how long it takes, how you take the two things together, where you are doing japa, where you really want to be with Krishna at that time only, but not with class or or with other thoughts, but it comes into your mind because you are absorbed in, oh yeah, I have to give that class. So please, Prabhu, enlighten me. It was a very beautiful class. That's what I was asking, because you must have prepared it, you must have put some notes together, you must have heard some classes, you must have gone through so many scriptures that you are giving references of.
So Prabhuji, so to be really frank, I do not really prepare or anything myself. All I do is when I regularly hear classes, I take notes. So I just refer to those notes from different classes, and pertaining to this particular topic, I just pick some references from every class, and I try to articulate it in a sequence so that it can be presented nicely for you. That's all I do. Nothing is mine. I just hear from disciples of Prabhupada and some Madhyamadikari devotees, and I just take some important notes and I try to articulate it in a flow that will connect to today's topic. That's all I do. So with respect to chanting, I still struggle with my chanting. I agree that it comes when you want to present something or you're going to talk something regarding Krishna consciousness. It comes into your mind, but somehow we try to move away from it. During chanting, we have to strive, because that's not the only day, right? Every day is a struggle for chanting. So we have to try to simply hear. Once Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he was asked by a devotee in Chaupadi, Maharaj, is it true that one has to simply hear the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or one should actually understand the meaning as a practicing sadhaka? There are different stages of chanting, but at a practicing sadhaka, if we simply hear, like Prabhupada says, all you have to do is simply hear the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So Maharaj said, hearing the Maha Mantra is as good as remembering the Lord. Well, how many of us even realize that, right? Hearing the Maha Mantra is as good as remembering the Lord, because the name is non-different from the Lord. This is what Maharaj said. So all we have to do is just strive to hear the mantra at my level, at the level where I'm practicing. All I can think of is hearing the Maha Mantra. That's all we can strive to do when our mind is getting distracted. Either it could be due to some presentation that we have to do, or it could be something else going on personally or officially. But we have to strive to hear to the mantra. That's all we can do from our side. But if we strive, Krishna will help us.
All glories to you, Prabhu. Very nice class. Very beautiful class, Prabhu. I thought maybe you put a few days, because honestly, I have a class I didn't want it to, but these devotees are so merciful. They put you towards Krishna, because when you are thinking of Krishna all the time, of course, you're connecting with Krishna more and more. You're listening to more lectures, so you go more in depth. So I am preparing, and I can't concentrate on anything but Krishna, which is in the end a good thing too. But yeah, but all glories to you, Prabhu. Very beautiful class. You connected so many different points, as you were saying by yourself, right in the line, and it's a beautiful class. Thank you, Prabhu, for your time, and thank you for your class. Hari Bol, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Right. If there are no questions, can we end the call, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Very beautiful, very nice instructional class. Thank you, Prabhuji. I think there's no one.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I just want to say thank you for the beautiful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Any chat messages, Mataji? Are we done? Okay, I can just read. I think there's one.
The question?
Yeah, there's one, right? Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please ask my humble obeisance, Prabhu and Shri Guru. Wonderful class. It was so amazing. Yeah, about devotional service. Thank you. This is from, I'm not able to expand the name.
Yashumati Mataji.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah, just one comment. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for enlightening class. Very nice class. Very eye-opening. Thank you. And we look forward to your association again. It's very, very nice to hear you. And with this, nobody has any questions, so we can end the class now. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti
Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Shri Krishna Katha Mela ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Vivek Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for such a beautiful class. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Closing the call for today. We'll meet again tomorrow. Hare Bol.
Hari Bol.
Yes.